Well, hello again. I've got another video, and today I'm going to be talking about the objective personality types that I think are most likely to win a debate. Now, keep in mind that this topic is very much under debate. This is just in my own subjective opinion, which is based off of my personal observations of people that I've seen. So I'm going to be going through the different coins in objective personality and talk about which coins I think have the most advantage when it comes to winning a debate. So I think the most important coins are savior thinking and then also masculine thinking, and it can be either TI or TE, and information dominant. And I put a picture of Sam Harris here because he has all of those qualities. Sam Harris is masculine, feminine, TISI, sleep, consume, blast, play. So he's savior T. His T is masculine, and he's also information dominant because he's play last. And I think Sam Harris could, kick my butt in a debate. I mean, he would just crush me. So, first of all, Savior T. I think Savior T is important because when you get down to it, debate is really about, you know, logic. It's about giving your logical reasons for something, why this side of the argument is better than the other side, and battling out in terms of logics and reasons and who has the most reasonable argument. I mean, yes, you can appeal to people's emotions, but when I think of debating, I think more in terms of logic and arguments, and it's more in the realm of T. And then having the T be masculine is important because masculine functions are the ones that are shoving. So if your T is masculine, you're going to shove more on the reasons and you're going to seem more confident in whatever reasons you're giving to people. Whereas if your T is more feminine, it might come off as a bit more wishy-washy and less confident, even if that T is a savior. And then information dominant. So if you recall, information dominant means that you have both blast and consume in your top three animals. So if you're information dominant, you're both sharing your information through blasting it out, but then you're also taking in new information. This is important in being a good debater because if you're consume last, for example, yeah, you're giving out your reasons, you're presenting them to others, but you may be overlooking a bunch of important information that would help you out and make your argument stronger because you're not consuming, you're not taking them in. Whereas if you're blast last, you're taking in a lot of useful information that would be helpful, but you're having more trouble presenting that information to others, especially presenting it in a more coherent and organized way. So this is why I think information dominant is especially important because they're more balanced on the blasting and the consuming, and they're more proficient at both of them. Okay, now here are some other coins that I think may also be helpful for winning a debate. So I think savior sensing, because I think in order to be a good debater, you have to back up your arguments with data, with facts, with statistics, with real sensory examples. And also having that sensing be masculine, because then you're more able to pull up those facts and data and more confidently do so and being able to shove on them a bit more. And then I think also having savior blast is an advantage because when you're debating, you got to be able to share your information and your arguments with other and being able to present them in an organized and coherent way. So in this picture here, I have Dave Ramsey. Dave Ramsey is masculine, feminine, TESE, blast, play, sleep, consume. So even though Dave Ramsey is an energy dominant and his thinking is feminine, he does have some qualities that work to his advantage, like, having savior sensing, having his sensing masculine, and then having supercharged savior blast. So, I mean, I think if you're trying to argue it with him, he can be kind of intimidating. He could crush a bunch of people in a debate, I would say. Now, the remaining coins, I think these are kind of more up for debate. I think it really depends on the nature of the debate. For example, observer versus decider. So if you're a single observer, then you have double deciding. And double deciding can be advantageous because it can help you see the other side. It helps you see where the other people are coming from. Although, now if you want to win the debate and crush your opponent, it might help to be it might help actually to be a single decider, like lead T, and then you might be more all in on your view. But I think a single observer can, or slash double decider, can be good at being more diplomatic and being able to negotiate between the two sides of a debate. But then it also helps in seeing the emotional appeal aspect of it, the feeling side of arguments, if you have double deciding, because you're balanced on T and F. Now, if you're a single decider, you're also a double observer. So double observer would be important in terms of, being able to see the facts and the data, but also the more abstract, intuitive implications, the larger picture implications, where something might be headed over time. So that could be an advantage as well. So I would say this one's a little more iffy. If I had to pick one, I might say single decider slash double observer might have a slight advantage, just because I think a single decider might be a little bit more cutthroat about winning, especially if they're lead T. OI versus OE. Now, OI is going to have the advantage of having their arguments all organized and coherent. They're not changing channels midstream, they're sticking to the point. On the other hand, OE would have the advantage of being more open to the new data and information coming in. Whereas if you're Savior OI and somebody's arguing about something you didn't take into consideration, you might be kind of stuck. Oh, what do I do with that information? And DI versus DE. Well, if you're DI, and I think especially if you're Savior TI, you're kind of all in on your viewpoint, your point of view. And I think if you're a TI, you might see a debate more as a battle of wits, kind of like, can I outsmart my opponent? Whereas I think with DE, you'd have the advantage of being able to see the spectrum. Now, if it's TE, you're going to be able to see that spectrum of reasons. You know what other people's reasons are. I think a savior TE might be more like, I need to convince these other people. It's not, maybe not so much a battle of wits, especially if you have masculine TE. It may be more like, I have to convince these people that this argument is correct because it's going to be for their own good, for their own benefit, because it's what works for everybody. Whereas TI might not really care about that so much. They'll be like, well, this works for me. This is what I know is true and right. And I don't care if the others follow this logic. I'm doing it this way. I feel smarter. I'm outwitting these other people. Well, that's just kind of my take on it more anyway. If I had to pick one, I don't know, maybe DI might have a slight advantage just because when they're debating, they're kind of more in it for themselves. I want to win. I want to be significant. Um, and like I was with OI versus OE, maybe OI has a slight advantage because they're coming in more prepared and their arguments are going to seem more coherent. But if you have too much OI and not enough OE, I don't think that might not be so good. And then finally, play versus sleep. So if you have Savior play, you have the advantage of, learning from the other side and being able to ping back and forth. Like your other side makes a point, and then you can ping off from them and kind of make a counterpoint to that. And then they make another counterpoint and you ping off. And then also I think play has an adaptability to it. You're taking in new information from that other person, which can be helpful. But on the other hand, if you have Savior sleep, chances are you've thought long and hard about your arguments and you've kind of planned it all out. So it's kind of similar to the OI versus OE. It's kind of hard to tell um, which one would be better. I think it would depend on the kind of debate. If it's a debate where there is more back and forth, play might have an advantage. But if it's a debate where there's less back and forth, it's just okay, this person says their side of the argument, the other person is not pinning, and then after that person's done, then the other person states their argument without the other person pinning back, then maybe sleep would have an advantage. Yeah. So that's kind of what I wanted to take away here is the coins that you see in debates. And just to sum it up, I think the most important coins for winning a debate are Savior T, masculine T, whether it's TI or TE, just having that T function masculine, and then being information dominant. So, but like I said, this is kind of up for debate. This is just my own subjective take on it based on my own observations. I'd be interested in what you have to say. What coins do you think you find are most useful for debating? Write them in the comments. I look forward to your feedback and what you have to say. Till then, have a great day. Bye.